And the commander who oversaw the raid that killed Osama bin Laden, retired Admiral William McRaven, is not backing off what he said about President Trump, even after the president went after him this weekend.
Bill McRaven, retired Admiral, Navy SEAL, 37 years, former head of U.S. Special Operations.
Hillary Clinton fan.
Special Operations.
Excuse me, Hillary Clinton fan.
Who led the operations, commanded the operations that took down Saddam Hussein and that killed Osama bin Laden, says that your sentiment is the greatest threat to democracy in his lifetime.
He's a Hillary Clinton backer and an Obama backer. And frankly,
he was a Navy SEAL.
Wouldn't it have been nice if we got Osama bin Laden a lot sooner than that? Wouldn't it have been nice?
So McRaven last year, as you heard Chris Wallace say, called the president's attacks on the media possibly the greatest threat to American democracy he'd ever seen. And now McRaven says he stands by those comments. He tells CNN, quote, "I did not back Hillary Clinton or anyone else. I am a fan of President Obama and President George W. Bush, both of whom I worked for. I admire all presidents, regardless of their political party, who uphold the dignity of the office and who use that office to bring the nation together in challenging times." At the White House, just within the last hour or so, Kellyanne Conway was asked to clarify who the president holds responsible for not catching bin Laden faster.
I haven't had that conversation with him. We're just happy that that Osama bin Laden is on the trash heap of history. No president has shown greater respect for the military and the veterans. What he's been able to do, everything from just more deeply respecting and better resourcing the military.
And Conway, by the way, correcting herself to Osama bin Laden, of course, not Obama bin Laden. I'm joined now by NBC News Pentagon correspondent Hans Nichols. Executive editor at Defense One, Kevin Barrett, is also with us. Hans, let me start with you.
Yeah.
Any reaction from the Pentagon, from your sources there about what the president said so far?
Well, look, officially there won't be a reaction because they don't want to be in a position where they're challenging their commander-in-chief as he goes after one of their former colleagues. It does put a lot of senior military officials in a difficult position. And, Hallie, I would just point to today as one reason why we don't have more on-camera briefings here at the Pentagon, because every time the president says something controversial, outrageous, however you want to couch it, it puts his senior officials here at the Pentagon in a difficult position because we can throw a camera in their face as well as a microphone and say, do you agree? And that's a very difficult position for guys like Jim Mattis, guys like Chairman Dunford to be in, because in many ways the president's comments are indefensible. There are many people here inside this building that have great respect for McRaven and all he did in the Special Forces community, and they don't want to be in a position to choose publicly between their boss and their friend.
Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. Why don't you subscribe? It's really easy. Just click on that button down there. And for more news from MSNBC, click on any of these videos here for the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more videos from MSNBC with our newsletters. Head over to msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up.